Hey everyone, welcome back to Bros and Shows. I am your host Josiah, aka Muller67, and with me, as always, I got my buddy, I got my pal, I got my brother Austin. Austin, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good. I can't really complain. I've had a interesting day, to say the least. I got up after playing Final Fantasy Tactics for an exceedingly long time with my friend John. Went to work, and I have been internally dying since then because I am just so tired from staying up till about 1 a.m. in the morning. So who knows if I'm doing better. Must have a delay.
That's me.
No, I see your chat. There is probably going to be a chat.
Yeah.
Are you seeing it now? Yeah.
I'm finally seeing it.
Yeah. It's up. It's going. For everyone else, this is our first time doing live on YouTube, so I'm still figuring out kinks and everything. So I'm gonna have to see about audio quality, how loud it is, and everything of that sort after the fact. So if it's quiet, we'll have to bump up audios. If it's loud, I'll adjust it, and so on and so forth. But yeah, Austin, so how have you been doing? Mama Burkhart's here with her true name.
Yeah, there you go.
The true name. Man, now we know her new true name. Yeah, Austin. How's your day?
Just been a lot of busy lately. We usually do this on Sundays at 8:15, but yeah. We actually had to skip it because my wife went to Disney early this morning. Actually, at 2 o'clock in the morning, she left for the airport. So I was like, hey, I kind of would like to spend a little bit more time with her before she leaves. I know she wants to, but also too is the time that we do the podcast, she would be asleep or trying to get sleep. Yeah. So I was like, I don't want to kind of keep her awake with that. So I was like, hey, let's do the podcast tomorrow. I was like, she ain't gonna be here. It's bachelor season now, boys. Yeah, you see the clothes all over. Those are clean clothes I'm gonna fold when I'm done here. That's how that works. Once you become married, you get responsibilities, and you're like, we're gonna live like my old self, and then you go back to being like, but I like it being clean, So I cleaned everything already. This morning when I woke up, I was like, I did the dishes, did all the laundry, and then I took the dry laundry and put it over there. Ralph's chilling on the bed right here. So yeah, it's been interesting. Been dealing with that, and then it's just been a long week with the job and everything that's going on. I work 5 days a week, and they love me there so much that they're asking me always to stay over or do something. They're like, hey, can you stay over, because we really think we like you're a go-getter. Pretty much they really like me at my job. So I've been staying over, helping out, stuff like that. So okay. And then I've been my downtime, I've been playing the game that has warped me.
It's warped a lot of people, let's be honest.
It was pretty funny because yesterday when I was at work with my other job, the guy I take care of, we went to the game store to play some Magic because he plays Magic. And we went down there, and there was a guy down there. He's like, dude, all I'm thinking about right now, and I don't know this guy. He just said it on there. So he was like, all I'm thinking about is going home right now, and I can't get clear obscurity Expedition 33 on my head. And I'm like, dude, I was with you about a week ago. I was like, but the thing is, it's I've grown up a lot, because old me would be like this, I was I'm right at the end of that game. I'm right when I fight the last boss. I know because I've seen TikToks of it, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is the last boss. I knew this was going to happen, and it's in Act 3.
Yep. So
I was like, okay. But it was 11 o'clock at night. I was about to play it, and I was like, old me would have been like, let's finish the game. Do it, dude. Do it. And then you're up until 2 o'clock in the morning, and then you feel like crap the next day at work.
Which is what I did last night.
So new me was like, no, don't do that. Like you just find a day where you're gonna have a lot more time, and then you can just play it and enjoy it and then embrace it, and then you can do all the key stuff. Because I know what happens. I beat a game like that, I finish it, I'm like, oh, let's see the side quests, and then like before you know it, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. So I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. So I turned it off and went to bed. I have not played that game since last Tuesday. Because I've been just too busy. Like not like I would load it. I did load it up. No, I haven't loaded it up. I have not loaded it up ever since last Tuesday. Like after Tuesday night when I got there and I was like, I gotta get to bed. I gotta be at work on Wednesday. But since my wife is gone tonight, I'm probably gonna play for a while. So I, because I don't have to be up until about 8:30, maybe 9 o'clock.
Must be nice.
Yeah,
I have to wake up at 6:30 in the morning, be all upset and angry that I'm walking into work in this blistering heat.
Oh yeah, you are walking in the work.
Yeah. No, that's good though. Yeah. I mean, it's nice to have the ability to like sit down and be like, I'm going to finish this game now, because what you're saying is true. Like I did that all the time, and I still do that all the time. It was a lot easier back whenever I worked third shift. Or Twilight shift, I guess it was. It was a lot easier when I worked Twilight because I could be like, oh no, I'm sleeping until 2 in the afternoon. That's okay. I don't go to work till 3. Now it's like I gotta go to bed at like 10 o'clock to be like a good member of society when I wake up. If I stay up till 12, I'm going to be tired the day after, and I'm probably going to take a nap. And what's been like, sorry, see this. This happens whenever I do that. And what tends to happen is I get home from work, I go to sleep, and then I wake up at 8, and then I play games with people till 12, and then I go back to sleep. And then I wake up, go to work, and I repeat, rinse, dry, and repeat constantly. So I'm always in the state of like, after I'm done with work, I'm like, I'm tired, sleep, wake up, play games, go to bed, tired. And it's just not the smartest decision, but at the same time, who's going to tell me not? No one, because I am my own person. I have my own. I pay my rent. I pay my bills. What more do you need? But no, like I know what you're talking about with Cleric Sierra. Like I've been nonstop playing it, just nonstop talking about it. I literally got it for you just so that way we could talk about it. Because I knew you would enjoy it, because it reminded me of Final Fantasy X. We used to play Final Fantasy X when we were little. Yeah. And then my coworker Jordan got it, and me and him have been talking about it too, and he's been telling me his theories, and I've been like, oh, yeah. Because it's funny, like he did the theory that everyone has in that game, and it's that the older guy is Gustav, just like in the future type deal thing. Yeah. And then like the new guy who shows up, they're like, oh, that must be him, or like later. And then he's like when he's really old, and they're trying to like fix the time paradox or something like that. And I'm just like, it's funny how many people have that thoughts. I don't know if it's because like I was trying to think about like what made us all think of time paradox.
So actually, that was a good point. I actually watched a video on that and like why people thought about that. And it's because Final Fantasy. So like lately, ever since RPGs have been getting a certain way, like because there was a TikTok that I watched where it's like, if you want to fix Final Fantasy, you need to make a game like Clear Obscurity. It's like it needs to go back to turn-based, and it needs to go back to an easier storyline that doesn't involve time jumping or time hopping or trying to fix something that involves a time jump. And I think that we've gotten to the point where it's been like used so many times that we think
there's a big difference between time hopping and time travel. Everyone was making the thought that in Clair Obscura it's time traveling or like time travel like loops happening, and I do think probably the reason for that, because I was trying to think about it, it's not Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy didn't do time loops really at all, except for 8 I think had like time loop mechanics, but you weren't ever subject to a time loop. You were always like, this creature is perpetually always alive because of the time loop or something like that. I haven't played 8 in a while, so I could be completely off basis on that. They've never done a time loop thing.
Yeah.
I think it's because I don't know. I think it's just because like some of the male people look very similar. And so everyone's just like, oh, he looks like him. He could be him. And then they just kind of like stretch it like an inch farther. Because I do think that Gustav and the one character Verso look very similar. And that's where people make the initial jump of, oh, they're possibly the same person. And then whenever they make that jump, they then make the jump to the third person as well.
Well, I think the reason why I even thought of that when I first thought that was like, number one, Verso shows up right after Gustav dies.
Yeah.
So like,
well,
and the thing is it came to me. Yes.
You just.
Oh, it's fine. It's been out.
No.
I know. I'm sorry. I spoiled it for whoever's watching us, which I don't think it's anyone except for mine. So if you're watching,
it's just our
spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, it's too late. You already said it.
Yeah, I did. Well, he just shows up like right when that happens. So like, I don't know. I just feel like it was like a tie-in with like Legend of Dragon or something. Sorry, I get all in the spoiler talk and I'm just like, yeah, I've already beaten this game. Well, I'm already close to it.
Yeah,
I don't know the rest.
You
of
don't.
It,
you don't have an off switch when it comes to spoilers.
Because me and you are talking, and I'm not used to like us talking about a video game usually during the podcast that me and you were into.
Yeah. Well, I mean, our podcast is a spoiler cast. Like we're talking about each season individually for that reason, so that way we can talk nonstop and just actually like fully talk about it and have no issues. Yeah. But no, I get you. It's just how it is. What can you do?
But yeah, speaking of spoiling stuff.
Well, no, what I was going to say is speaking about expeditions, Austin, let's talk about expedition that happened before Expedition 33. Delicious in Dungeon. Austin, I made you watch this show. This was a show that I watched late to the party. A lot of people were into the show back whenever was getting like out of it and getting into Dandadan by the time I started watching this. And so whenever I finally started watching it, and then afterwards I watched Dandadan, I had you watch Dandadan before this, even though I wanted you to watch this one before Dandadan, but because Dandadan just came out, I'm like, let's do Dandadan because that's more prominent in everyone's mind at that point. Yeah.
You want to know how creepy that is?
That's very creepy. Well, how?
Okay, so here's the reason why. Do you know what happens in 10 days from now? The new Dandadan season drops.
Oh, really? Okay. Wasn't
so,
I don't keep up when things drop only until it comes up in my feed like new season. I'm like, oh.
Well, see, here's the thing: is I have to figure this out. We have to figure this out because the thing is Dandadan did have a movie that came out. But I think because I talked to my buddy Travis about, I was like, hey man, do you want to go see it? And he was like, no. And I was like, why? And he was like, well, usually when an anime does that, the second season they have extended episodes. That's pretty much the movie. And I was like, oh, okay. So I was like, we'll have to figure that out. If we need to watch the movie separately so it like ties into season 2, we'll do that. But if not, then we just watch season 2 and that's what it is.
Okay.
But Dandadan does come out in 10 days. Because I see it all the time. It's like 10 more days until
I was not aware of that, man. I was just making a note about the truth of it.
It's creepy. Because we're like, we were just watching Dandadan, made you watch it. But by the way,
well, I think just because like all those shows were showing up on Netflix, it's like this one, Feyrin, is also a show that I want you to watch. I'm still like done with that one technically, because I'm constantly getting pulled away from it, and then you're making me watch King of the Hill on top of it. So figure that out.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, because the new reboot comes out.
Yeah, you want me to watch the reboot, and I'm like, I don't know. I've seen episodes, but never watched seasons. But anyways, Austin, let's get on the topic of Delicious in the Dungeon. Austin, what'd you think of Delicious in the Dungeon?
So I will say this: this anime is a very good level to get someone into anime. Okay. I will say that not because like it's like, oh, this is the bare bottom. It's more of like the watchability of this is really easy because the reason why is because one person that has never stopped and watched anything that I was watching that was anime, stopped and watched anime. And she was like, this is pretty fun. You want to rewatch this sometime? I was like, yeah. So Sydney actually enjoyed this. She really enjoyed this. We watched like 5 episodes and she's like, this is fun. I was like, this is anime. And she's like, yeah, but like before, like most of the anime you've ever watched is like really violent, grotesque, like, you know, or like it's not like,
depending on what you're looking at, this could be pretty violent, grotesque.
This is more cutesy kind of like she likes the cooking part of it.
Yeah.
She likes how like it's like talked about. It's more of like, you know, it's like, oh, hey, it's kind of cutesy in a way, but it's not, you know, she thinks that, but like really in reality, they're brutally murdering things and then eating them.
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do to get down to the
and
the
also
bottom.
last week, I was working last week and I was watching some of these episodes to like finish it up.
Yeah.
And JT, the guy I work with, he was like just zoned in. He came over and we had some brats and he ate 2 brats and then he made 2 more brats and those brats never got ate because he started watching the show and before you know it, you know, he was like, oh man, I'm sorry, I made you late. And I was like, no, dude, like, he was like, what is this? And I was like, it's delicious in the dungeon. It's, you know, and he was like, all right, I'm gonna have to watch it. He blasted through it and the next day he was like, I wish there was more.
Yeah.
And I was like, they did announce that in the early of 2026, that the new season's coming out.
Oh, did they announce that? I didn't look up. I instantly assumed because of how popular it was, it will get a second season. I just didn't look it up.
Yeah, they said it was going to be the first quarter of Netflix. I mean, first quarter of 2026.
Okay, cool.
That's pretty cool. I will say I thoroughly enjoyed this because it was an easy watch for me. I didn't have to overthink it, you know, and what I loved about it was actually it felt very Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
And it's so inspired by Dungeons and Dragons. Like it is a dungeon crawler.
A lot of people like in the tabletop community that I'm a part of, after this became like really popular, they went around and basically said like we should make a Delicious Dungeon campaign. And like we don't get rations after every fight. We have to like make recipes and everything up from what we kill and then make rations. And I kind of laugh because I explained, I'm like, what you're basically trying to pitch is a D&D Oregon Trail essentially. And every time you all go down the dungeon, you have to kill something, keep it, and then I occasionally will be like, it's spoiled. You died of dysentery and things like that, you know. Which to be fair would be kind of fun. Like, yeah. Have you ever did that? There's like a Oregon Trail of like the zombie apocalypse or something like that.
Oregon Trail.
Oregon. It's just called Oregon Trail. Yeah. Okay.
Like
it's like it's like that. I'm like people could do that with a Delicious Dungeon. I'd be all cool with that. It was really good. Austin, I have to ask. So like, one of the reasons why I wanted you to watch this because you were a food person. Like you took like those Gordon Ramsay
master classes.
Thank you, master classes and things like that. I still remember whenever we were first moving into my current place, you would just come up with like chicken. You're like, I'm going to make actually good food and we're not going to order out. And everyone else was just like, oh, food. But like, I have to say, Austin, watching this show and them preparing like the food, was there any food that you saw that you were like, I would love to try that?
How that question sounded very Chris what's his name, the guy from Hot Ones,
Chris Evans. I think it's Chris Evans. I know Sean Evans.
Sean Evans. Yeah, that sounded
very Sean Evans codes. I stole it from him. No, I'm not.
So there was actually a couple that I saw and I was like, man, that actually looks really good, but it's a slime. No, so there was a couple. I would have to say I did enjoy how he like represents cooking and how he prepared it was very well done because it felt like a recipe and it felt like a YouTube walkthrough in a way. Yeah, where it was like, this is what you do. You put it in the pan, lightly bread it, stuff like that.
I'm sure that someone did it, but you could easily clip the parts of that and make it look like a TikTok tutorial. It's just like 2 lemons. Cook the cockatrice eggs like that.
Man.
No,
I'm guessing like on TikTok, people have done this, and
I
done
assume,
I would assume, but it is very well done. That's why it's aesthetically pleasing. It's great. It's like I don't know. Okay, so it's an identifier for the anime. It's exactly what you want. Like it's what you want in the anime. When you hear delicious in the dungeon, you know that food's going to be involved. But when you watch it and you're like, hey, they actually prepare it. This is how they prepare and eat food. And in reality, I think this is a more believable thing than having rations or anything, because when you're like an adventure like this and you're in a dungeon, you're going to have to eat things that you got to learn how to prepare food. Like it's not just this thing where it's like, oh, I made this. It's more like
they kind of make a note of it in the show itself. Like these are monsters they're eating, not actual like animals and everything. Because Marcel is very anti-eating it, like eating anything of it. And I also love how Laos is just like 100% down. Like, oh, this would be amazing. That like duality I think lends itself very well, especially with like Senji like being the. I think it wouldn't be as enjoyable if they were just like getting food, like killing things and then just trying to make stuff. It's cool to have like they essentially have like a Gordon Ramsay with them, who's just like, oh, this would be perfect with this, add this, and he like kind of walks them through it. Also, side note, Senji is voiced by Songwon, who is ProZD. That's how I know him. Freaking beautiful voice. I love hearing that guy talk. I would listen to him talk about tabletops on his channel all the time, just because I enjoyed how he spoke. And so having him as Senji doing that as well, I think just hit the nail on the head. Fantastic. The other thing for me that I really liked about the show was how like every enemy in the dungeon was a creature of some sort and was edible to some degree. Like the favorite one that I love like pointing out is the armor that they fight. The armor that is like actually like their muscles effectively hidden inside the armor cracks, and they like move the armor independently together. Love that as a concept. Very often in like dungeons you just see like it's a living armor and then it's just explained with magic and that's it. But in this show they're like, no, they're muscles, and they've conjointed in between the cracks of the armor and they move it. This is the shell of an oyster effectively. I love that so much. And anytime like they did that a couple times, and I love that so much.
Yeah, because
sorry, alarm wheel.
So I do like I like it. I like how they set up everything. It's really well done. The ending to this season was great. I thought it was funny, like the whole last bit of it, where it was just like, we're gonna have to get all these people to eat her. You know, like I was like, we're gonna have to get this mid-size and this size. And then they also lured in like this thing where it's like, hey, you know, something's wrong with the dungeon. It's like, it's different.
Yeah.
In a way, because like the one, I forget her name, like the other explorers that were part of her at one point. I'm trying to think. I forget her name. She was one of them. She was one of their partners already, like party members before, and they actually meet up.
Wait. Are you talking about the other dwarf? I think it's Namari, I want to say.
Yeah, Namari. And yeah. She was like, you know, no one's going, you know, the dungeon's different from when you guys came down here. And it's like, but everyone after us is not going to like the outcomes. And I'm like, ooh, some mystery in the dungeon.
Yeah. Well, the whole concept of the dungeon is very cool. Like this idea that like people effectively... I'm trying to make sure that I'm not mixing up my shows because I've been watching a lot of shows. Like, effectively, people can't die as long as they are killed, and then they could be resurrected as long as their body's brought, effectively.
Yeah.
And so that adds that level of, like, D&D-esque, where you always hear people being like the Dungeon Dragon movie, people were like, someone gets killed, it's like, revivify him. Like, whoa, this doesn't matter, it's D&D. But, like, this show has that element as well. It's like, yeah, there's literally priests that just like heal people and like resurrect them. Death is very common here, but as long as you're in the dungeon only.
Yeah.
And I like that aspect of it.
I will say this. Senshi is the highlight of the
I agree.
The show.
I think Senshi's the best part.
He is the cooking aspect to it, but also too is I like the whole reveal that we got where you find out that Senshi's pan is made from like this really like kind of like vibranium
effectively
iron. Yeah. And then he's like, oh, why would you make it like a pot? When he said that, you know who he reminds me of so much?
Who?
Senshi. He reminds me of, oh, what's his name? Here, hold up. I'll have to look it up, his name.
Mm-hmm.
But you'll know after I say his name. Because I feel bad if I don't remember his name.
Is it a character or
Garl,
is it
Garl from Sea of Stars?
Oh, Garl. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he reminds me of him with the pan.
Yep.
When I saw that, I was like, I like this guy. So the thing is I think he highlights what the show should be. Yeah. And I loved the episode where you talked about the Griffin.
Yeah, when you find out about the whole... Because, side note, the one thing I do like about this show is, like you were saying, that it's very easy watch, but there's also very key times in it that it gets really dark or really, like, tense, right? That episode was really tense because he basically explains that it's like, yeah, I was the only one who survived, and I'm not sure if what I was fed was actually griffin meat or if it was dwarven meat, and I'm terrified to know the truth. And so anytime he sees a griffin, he kind of freaks out internally. And then I love the fact that they're able to like figure it out at the end. It's like, that was griffin meat. He was telling me the truth. Thank God. And that was like, I love that episode. You know, you mentioned Senji. Another character I absolutely love is Laos. Because like, for two reasons. I mentioned Song Wong. Laos is voiced by Damian Haas from Smosh, and that dude, he vibes, like everything he does just vibes with me. I just love the dude so much. And like him voicing this character and like his reactions to stuff is always so good. I also love Laos's want to like eat everything and try everything, and the sword that he gets, how he kind of keeps it a secret, and he's like, I'm not going to tell anyone about this. He's my little guy. He's my little friend. He's my buddy. Oh, I loved it. Marcel and Chilchuk is good too. The funny thing about Chilchuk, I liked him. I have no issue with him. My biggest thing about him is we played Monster Hunter Wilds, and he voices a character in Monster Hunter Wilds. And the second he started speaking, I'm like, I like you more than everyone else in this game just because I know your voice actor. So extra points to you, buddy.
Well, I was gonna say, Marcel. That's Emily Rudd. Because
I don't know who that is.
So Emily Rudd has been the biggest thing that people know Emily Rudd from is the One Piece TV show that came out. She plays Nami or whatever her name is.
Yeah, the Bing girl, yeah.
Yeah, I know her from a Netflix 2-part series that I love, and so when I saw her, I was like, dude, she's a really good actor. It is called Fear Street, and I've been thinking about us doing that, but the thing is it's like 2 movies really. So there's like Fear Street Part 1, Fear Street Part 2, and one's like 1978 and the other one's like 1997 or something like that.
Okay.
And then they just came out with a new one, so it's been like a really good series. But I remember watching her in it, and then when I looked up all these characters, I was like, oh dude, that's an Emily Rudd character. Like I was like, I know her from Fear Street, and so I was pretty excited for that. I know that they've been in talks with like maybe her being Kim possible. They've thought about that. She does have like the red hair look, that because when she plays Nami or whatever her name is, One Piece, everyone's like, she looks like she could be one Kim Possible. And I'm like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. That checks out. But overall, I think this show really is easy for people to watch, but there is like some really good depth to this show. And what I mean by really good depth is we have storylines that I really thoroughly enjoy. Like one of my favorite storylines in this series is actually, which is weird, but it is actually close to the end. Actually, I died when they transformed and Senshi was like a JoJo character.
Well, he became an elf. He became an elf. Yeah, and it was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, he was essentially a JoJo character. Because when he was like, we should cook. And he's like, he gets that bright eyes and like all the roses come falling. I was like, this is just JoJo all over again.
See, and like you speak about that, right? And that's another thing that I love about the show. And it's like kind of story and lore building of the creatures. The creatures have their own function. And so like, it's like, oh no, we got transformed in something. Like, well, technically not. Like what happened was we crossed over the spore threshold, which clinged to us and has effectively morphed us into something else. They explain it so elegantly, and I'm not going to be able to regurgitate it very well, but I loved how they explained how it exists and how it's common in the world. And it's not some like magic thrown in the air, like it's magic, don't think about it, it's just magic. They explain things, and I love that because it allows you to just kind of look at the world as less magical and more like scientific magic. I just saw it like even like the mandragora that they have to pull out as well. Like they're like, yeah, it could paralyze you, but we have ways to do that. You tie a dog at the end and you let the dog pull it out, and then the dog dies, and you're like, that's messed up, don't kill a dog. And then she finds a way to pull it out with the form of a bat, and then it backfires because the bat flies to her, and it's like, oh no. So I really enjoy that. I like that a lot. I also there's also a lot of memes with the show too, with Phelan. When Marcel sees her like with like she transforms the thing and like she shows her chest a little bit, and Marcel's like, whoa, hey. There's just stuff like that. And then the longest time I loved having there was when Monster Hunter came out, people were putting Laos, the little jump animation he does to attack the dragon, they were just splashing him into every picture of every dragon everywhere. It's just like, oh my god, what's that? It's Laos. But I love it. I like the show a lot. I'm happy that it's getting a second season. I can't wait for it. I think that the world and the magic system of this series really lends itself very well to, like you said, easy fun watches. You don't have to focus all that time. You can just enjoy the little cooking tutorial midway through. It was a point where I just enjoyed watching it for the cooking tutorials, because you're like, what did they make this time? Ooh, they made udon rice. That's awesome.
Yeah, there was that's what makes that show pretty much, because it leads up to like that fight. To me, I like the fight and it leads up to like the adventure, but then the ending of like them satisfying themselves by eating a monster and like cooking a gourmet food, especially, you know, Senshi brought that whole aspect to them, because, you know, when he eats that slime, like when he prepares the slime and everything, man, it just reminded me when he did the slime. It reminded me of the episode of The Simpsons where Homer asked for the blowfish at the Chinese buffet, and they have to like, they pull out this diagram and it has like all these poisonous points. It's like, this is all will kill you, except for like this small part. And he's like, you know, and he's like, we'll have to get the master chef to prepare it. And then the master chef like leaves and has to go somewhere. And so they get like the sous chef, and he's like, you know, so it's like every time when he was doing the slime, I was like, dude, that's a blowfish. Like, so, but just the cooking aspect of the show is what makes this show. I think Senshi is like the main gist of the show, but he's like the big character that everyone wants because he does the tutorials. But I think the storylines that go around it is very well done. I like, you know, the dragon, you know, like his sister being like this chicken dragon kind of thing now is a little weird. I did like that we got a little bit of storyline, like with how much she cared for her. I always forget her name. I always know the name of
Marcel.
her staff. Her staff is named like some food type. I think it's like
I
yeah,
always
forget what
remember
it's
her
called.
staff. Her staff is named something like this.
Yeah, it like I
No,
always
it's
say
Marcel.
the name,
It's
but
Marcel.
now, yeah, so Marcel, but her staff is named something like a food type thing.
Souffle.
I
don't
forget what it
actually know.
is, but it's like I don't know. I'll have to find. I had it in my head because every time like I would say that character's name, I'd say no, it's that, and then like I was like, wait, no, that's the name of the staff that she talks about. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this. I'm glad that we watched it. I know it's one that you've been talking about for a while, and like, you know, I was like, yeah, okay, this looks.
It's been
like a
on the
little
list
fun
of like
anime.
backlogs for whenever we're not watching
Yeah.
something that just finished
Yeah.
or something like that. Because
Yeah.
I wanted to watch it whenever it first finished, but
Yeah.
we were I forget what we were into. Oh, we were in the middle of that Tales of the Crypt
Yeah.
run through that we were doing.
Yep.
So I was like, okay, this will wait.
Yeah.
That's
Speaking
fine.
of backlogs.
Speaking of backlogs,
Yeah,
Austin,
yeah.
next week, what are we gonna watch, Austin? It's your week. You're making us watch this.
So, I've never played the game. I don't know anything about the game at all.
I know nothing of the game. I know nothing of the show.
But this show, it came out in 2022.
Wow, I
so-
thought it came out earlier, like later than that.
No, it was 2022 when it came out, and I was holding it off for a while, and then probably about last year, someone told me, they're like, "Hey, you should give Edge Runners a chance. It's really good." And I was like, "I don't know. I don't like Cyberpunk." He's like, "It's fine. You don't need to." I ended up watching it, and I was like, "Wow, this is pretty good for an anime." And it's like been on my back burner for a while, and I was like, "Man, we gotta get, I gotta watch an anime. I want to watch an anime. I want Josiah to watch an anime that he hasn't watched." So it was between that or Spawn, and I was like, Spawn. The problem is with Spawn is when we get to Spawn, it's 90s anime, like it's there.
Okay.
So some things, it is very graphic. It's very graphic anime, but the thing is it's cringe. Sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, you roll your
Well,
eyes.
it's
'cause
from the
90s.
90s, so
Yeah. So, but Edge Runner, Cyberpunk, I've never played the game, but I did thoroughly enjoy this anime.
the thing I know about this game is the one like small girl who everyone likes because she's kind of like hothead or mean or whatnot. And I know that it apparently goes like it's a tragic show, like it ends badly. That's all I know. I don't know what it means. But I do also I also know that it's a prequel, I guess, to the games in some way.
Yes.
So maybe after we watch it, we enjoy it so much, we'll pick up the game.
Well, I'll give you one thing though with this show. There is Carlos Esposito is in this show.
Oh, Carlos, really?
Yeah, he voices.
Well, I'm going to look out for it.
one of the characters. Yeah, oh, you'll know. You'll instantly know it's him because, like, it's
Recognize
just
that man's
Gus-
voice anywhere I go.
Yeah, yeah. Gus Fring is just
Carla.
Gus Fring.
Happy you're
So,
here.
yeah.
All right, Austin.
It's,
Yeah, no, I'm excited for it. It is a show that I've been told that I need to watch, so
yeah.
it's about time
It's-
I sit down and watch it. So,
Yep.
all right, Austin, if you have nothing else to add, Molly's getting kind of sleeping on my arm, just
There you go.
leaning out. So, Austin, I want to thank you so much for joining me on this episode today. I appreciate you as always. I want to thank you all so much for stopping by, and thank you all so much for tuning in.